This is the world. There's 146 countries you can edit. Right now, all the ones in blue, you can edit everything. You can draw your own base map roads, you can label points of interest, you can draw boundaries of islands and political boundaries, including de jure boundaries and all the sort of UN-type boundaries. All the ones that are in yellow, you can't edit the base map data, but you can edit business listings, where the post office is, but you can't edit where the road is in front of the post office. And that's because we have licensing agreements with data providers won't let us edit their data. But at least in the blue countries, they'll be more modern than we will soon. And let's take a look at that. This is the Philippines. That's the data we could buy from TeleAtlas or Navtec, LeadDog, A&D, that kind of thing. Okay, nothing against them. They just didn't happen to go there. Okay, this is 6 months later. And if you were to zoom in, you'd see that all those little markers there, you click and it pops up a little blue and tells you about it, the phone number of the bank, the name of the hospital, special directions where the emergency parking is. This is India. This is the after. Okay. Now, once again, the Minister of Lands for BC may not think that this is done with the same, accuracy and precision that Canada deserves. But if you didn't have any roads, any maps in your country, you'd think it's all the precision you deserve. You'd be glad to have a map. And it matches satellite imagery really well, so it has a certain holistic truth to it, although from an orthorectification standpoint, it's not good enough for, it's not like, it's like maybe 10, 15 meter error possible. So it's pretty bad as far as GS is concerned. It's pretty good as far as everybody who lives in India is concerned. So, there's 2,000 of you and a million of them, and so that's the change I'm talking about. It's not that this is somehow the ultimate fulfillment of GIS is lousy data. I don't mean that. What I mean is that things are for a purpose. And if you are hungry, everything looks like food. And if you don't have a map is a really good thing. If you have a map, then a better map's a good thing. And at some point, you become very refined. You say, well, yes, but that's not Ordnance Survey quality, so I don't want to look at that map, which is fine. But most of the world isn't in the position to have that point of view. So most of the world had no map at all. And so now they have a map, and they're really excited about it. And so they're soon going to have better maps than the grown-up part of the world. Like the G20 will have worse data than the G-other. I find that fascinating. I just think that's amazing. It's incredible. Here's Chile, Santiago, which is one of the largest cities in South America. It's one of the largest cities, compared to any city in the United States or in Canada. And there's our map. Not for want of trying, not for want of paying. It's just there's nothing to buy. And here's the after. Okay, and if you zoom in, they have road names. They have turn restrictions, number of lanes, one way, hours of service. We do full routing in those cities. And so that's done by local people. They're not working for Google. I mean, they're working for themselves. They want to find out how to get people to come to their party and get to the bakery. So it's incredible. So this is something that's, GIS people said, well, this would be terrible if it happened because we couldn't trust the people. And two, if it did happen, it wouldn't be comprehensive enough to be useful. I can tell you, in less than a year, it's remarkable. It's 140 countries, and it's used every single day by people in those countries, and they trust it. And there are missing roads, and it does mess things up. But it doesn't prevent it from being useful almost all the time. It's just like the Wikipedia. There are some, say, wrong articles in there somewhere, but out of the 600,000 articles, the 12 wrong articles aren't going to stop you from finding out what the drug interactions are for this and that. At least you can go start your search with more information. So this is where it's at. Now, this is a map, and it's great on my computer, and it's probably bad up there, but it's not just fuzzy like that. I mean, it's beautifully sharp here. It's just projection technology is still back there with the buggy whip. But you can see a really dense road network in India just from brightness. You can actually see the roads here. Very, very busy in Israel, very busy in Jordan, tremendous activity in Libya, a lot of roads in Western Sahara. I don't know if you know much about Western Sahara. It's not a good vacation spot, okay? It's like one of the places like the Marines wouldn't go. It's like it's like a kind of wild place. They're still mapping out their roads because the wild guys want to know how to come rob you or something. But the point is they can use a computer, so they get maps, right? So huge amount of activity in South America. Nothing against Brazil. They're not Luddites. We already have good data for Brazil. So we can't do the editing in Brazil. But all through the Caribbean, and you can't see it, but all throughout all the like 100,000 islands in the Pacific, there's little 3 roads on each island. And the roads have endpoints, have little markers like East End and West End. at the beach. It's fabulous. So that's only 9 months, and it's only a few 100 million people, which is a lot of people, but there's 6 billion people, 6.5 billion people. So, we're still looking at 1 out of 30 people use our products. So the other 29 could get with this, whether it's OpenStreetMap or whether it's whatever. The point is the world could get mapped pretty quick and pretty well using these techniques. I encourage you to consider them as part of the evolutionary change you should embrace rather than be left behind like the guys that lost. And the other thing I would say on this data capture front is you might wonder if there's something evil and pernicious about Google getting millions of people to get all the data for us, and so we have this big hoard of data and we're going to do something weird with it. And we have this team at Google, actually, it's pretty funny, it's called the Data Liberation Front. Actually, we have a team called the Data Liberation Front, and they invade you like the SWAT team to see if there's any data that people put into Google they can't get back out. They're there to prevent you from hoarding users' data. Okay, it's hilarious, actually. This little, Che-like kind of thing with it's surreal. But the effect of their work is to make sure that all these products, you can export data. Right? So, for example, in Google Earth, you can export KML. Well, in Google Docs, you can output, Word files. In Google Mail, you can output, you can use a POP and IMAP to get to your data, and you could suck it out and put it in a PST file and go back to using Exchange if you want. It's like there's no data holding. And so the reason I mention that is that applies to this community collaborative map building as well. You can download the data. It's available for nonprofits. We haven't yet made it available to Microsoft and Yahoo, but you can download it. Nonprofits can download the data for any use they want to, and the Red Cross and the UN and lots of people, NGOs, are using that in Africa and other places. So it's the mindset here is that people are mapping data. They can get the data back. They can do what they want to with it. In the countries where we can't let people draw data, like in the U.S., I did an interview this morning. And said, well, what if the road's wrong? I said, well, you got to wait for somebody to fix it. Well, if that's true in the U.S. and Canada. But if it was a business listing that was wrong, you could just edit it yourself. You just click on it. If you ever do a search in Google Maps and it says edit, you click on that. You can say they're closed, they're open, they're a new business, they're no longer a massage parlor, they're now a doctor's office. Whatever you can type it in. This is San Francisco. This is 1 year. 50,000 edits in San Francisco by map users. So what I'm trying to encourage you to do is to think about all of your products and your users and understand that acceleration is based on the fact that, for example, whatever product you've built that they use, they probably, in some time in their life, have seen Google Maps. They may use it, and they may come to expect editing as a natural thing to do. So if the, BC Hydro extreme gauge management application won't let you click and say that road's closed, they'll say, why can't I do that here? I paid you $1 million to build this application. The thing is free on the web. It does that perfectly. See, that's the kind of sort of sneaky thing about this accelerating change. People expect all the good things to happen and all the other things, which is great. It's like pollinating bee. You need to build a dynamic editing capability, user feedback, user trust. All these things need to be part of every application that's user-facing. People expect that now. Think about people who use things like Facebook, and they say, well, for example, how could I friend you? The whole mentality changes when you use products. You think about that same concept in other products. So GIS hasn't really been with it, so shape up. This is a map, a heat map of all of the edits through this collaborative mapping activity in the last year in this particular captive way that we do this, and it's 500 million edits between the roads, the changes to the roads, the place POIs, business listings, to all the edits in that. It's 500 million edits. So I want you to imagine how long it would take you, the staff that you work with that gathers data, to do 500 million somethings. Seriously, just think about that. Okay, so that's an asset that I think we would be really unwise to waste.